Good morning and welcome to the third episode of the Level Up Mastermind podcast. I have a very special guest with me today, Nicoletta Longo. We got a Sicilian in the house, Gaetano Morello. Nicoletta, it's good to have you here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, Nicoletta is an extremely impressive young woman. She's in real estate, so of course we know each other, Boston Real Estate Connection. But in addition to that, she started an organization called Namaste Sober, which is truly inspiring. It helps people overcome their challenges, brings a community of like-minded people together, which has a lot of similarities to what I'm doing with Level Up. So I'm just so excited to hear more about Namaste Sober, a little bit about your background and what it's all about. So Nicoletta, let's start with just your background. How did you get into the work with Namaste? Maybe also tell us a little bit about what you do in real estate as well, and if there's any overlap there.
Yeah. So how did I get involved in the work with Namaste? So if we go back to 2014, I experienced a couple just like back-to-back really intense life situations. I lost my grandmother, which being an Italian grandson, I'm sure you know how hard that is. I was really close to my grandmother. Like we still had dinner once a week, and growing up, we would have it like 3 times a week. And so losing kind of like that anchor. And then about a month or two after that, I had a breakup after 4 years. And so it just kind of felt like all of these like pillars like were kind of crumbling. And I remember just being in my apartment and kind of, knowing that I needed to have a little shift. And something that my grandmother used to always say is like, if you're really stuck, then, traveling will change your perspectives. And that's something that I've kept with me. And that's a reason why this past year has been so hard, because I usually use that as like a pocket tool, even if it's just for a weekend or, whatever. So I had that kind of in the back of my mind. And I had already been to Italy, obviously, and I was interested in going to Bali. And it was kind of like this thing. And I was like, yeah, one day I'll go, and I had some friends that went, and it just seemed like the time to go, like after all of those things happened. I was also in a point, like I hadn't started real estate yet, and I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do. I studied linguistics and double majored in linguistics and Italian at Brandeis University, and I wasn't using my degree. And so after that thought, 2 weeks later, I was in Bali and I stayed there for 3 months. And I had never really gotten into yoga. I had done a little bit of yoga. And when I say yoga right now, I mean asana yoga, because that's what I thought yoga was. I thought it was just this physical practice of, movements and breathing. And I had not really experienced like the entire ecosystem of what yoga was really about, which is, big focus on self-awareness, on meditation, on community, and practices to support each one of those things. And so when I was in Bali, I really got to experience that, and not like in a book, but just feeling that feeling of showing up to a studio, and in whatever place I was in, whether I was like crying on my yoga mat, which happened a bunch and I got to grieve a lot, or whether I was, battling my inner thoughts in a meditation, or whether I was donating my time and doing karma yoga. The place that I stayed the first time that I went to Bali, they had this system which is a similar system to a lot of ashrams, where you go and you can stay for free, but then you do what's called karma yoga, and you kind of give back to the community in some way. So our way of giving back was gardening, which I think in and of itself, gardening is just like a total healing modality. And yeah, it was there that I really discovered like that was what was missing in my life, like this overall practice that I could kind of, the container that I could hold my life in. And so when I came back from that, it was like this shift of my perspective, and everything kind of needed to fall into that container. And then I think before that, I was kind of like, well, should I do this or should I do this? And I was trying things and it wasn't working. And now that I have that container of practice, like I just felt so much more connected to the things I was doing. And while I was in Bali, I knew that when I came back, I was going to do this this workshop that was like a 3-month workshop where you basically create a project. And the idea is you choose one population to create with, and you choose one population to benefit. And I knew that I wanted to create with this yoga community that I created in Bali and that I really wanted to bring back to Boston. And the community I wanted to benefit was the recovery community, mainly because I had a lot of people that I knew that were in recovery, but especially one person that was the brother of my ex-boyfriend, or sorry, cousin, but they called each other brothers. And so when I came back, that was when I first started hosting like these classes. And it was like, Namaste. Actually, the name didn't even exist yet. So it was just kind of this like meetup, and we would host classes. And the idea was to make it more accessible, because back then and even now, to attend a yoga class for, I'd say, at least 60 to 70% of the population, it's just not accessible because of the cost. And so we would chip in and then pay for the teacher and have these classes. And we did that. I got back in, I think, like April or May. We did that throughout the whole summer. And then I got my real estate license in that fall. And then in November of 2015, my friend that I kind of started the organization in memory of passed away. And then we held, sorry, I usually can contain myself, but
you're doing great. You're doing awesome.
we held it was kind of like a memorial in memory of him. And one of the last things that he texted to me, because I was always trying to get him to come to yoga, because I knew if he could put aside the like yoga of like, I need to wear, the certain pants and do it a certain way, and kind of dive into like what yoga really is about, which is like these practices of like self-awareness and compassion and all these things, then he would really benefit from it. And so one of the last things he texted to me was, I was like, what do you think we should call the classes? And I was kind of like flirting with different ideas. And he was like, no, I think you should call it Namaste Sober. And like, so that's kind of like where the name like developed from. And then we held this memorial fundraiser in memory of him. And the whole idea was like, Namaste, like, welcome the light in me, welcomes the light in you. And when we're both in that same light, we are one. And then sober, like all of our events are sober events. And so the first event was incredible. We had like, I think close to like 200 people, and we had like massages and Reiki and essential oil. And it just was like exactly what like the goal kind of was, which was to like bring people that hadn't been exposed to yoga and these healing modalities into a space where they feel welcomed. And out of that fundraiser, we raised enough money to fund 5-year-long yoga scholarships. And so we gave those scholarships to 5 people. Out of the 5 people, 4 of them maintained their sobriety, which that alone was like an amazing statistic. And then out of those 4, 2 of them went on to create their own. So 3 of them became yoga instructors, and 2 of them actually eventually created their own yoga studios. And like, once that happened, it was like, I never planned on being the founder or, CEO of a charity. And once that happened, I think all the people that were involved with that first fundraiser, out of all of them, we still have 5 board members. And it was just like, this is like working and we need to do this. And yeah, so that's kind of how it all started.
That's an incredible story. And I think that, one thing that I'm picking up from that is, first of all, the power of changing your environment and traveling and learning new experiences. Because it sounds like that trip to Bali had such a massive influence on your life, not only from getting away from, the grief and processing that grief with your grandmother, but also learning about yoga. And I think that the important distinction you made about yoga is that it's not really just this exercise class. It's so much more than that. It's deeper than that. And it goes into all these healing modalities that you talked about. And it was really when you discovered that you were able to create this container that then became your life. And you brought that back to Boston. And here you are changing lives and inspiring people. You're certainly inspiring me. I think that what you're doing is absolutely incredible.
I was just going to say, and the traveling piece of it, like, and this, I'm sure, like when you're kind of in a position in an organization or company, like it requires you to keep leveling up.
Yep.
And that actually, like, a year and a half into running the organization, our mission is to, offer, to provide accessibility so that people can connect to their bodies and minds through yoga and overall wellness. And I got like a year and a half into the mission and I was like running myself into the ground. And I was like, I think I put a lot of my grief into the work and I was like, okay, I just gotta like, and like I wasn't actually fulfilling the mission for myself. And so at that point, I was like, okay, I need to go back and learn again. And then I traveled to India. And that was when I got even more into the other practices. And I lived in an ashram for almost 2 months in the rural part of Maharashtra in Italy, southern Italy. Oh, sorry, Italy, India.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the traveling piece has definitely been like a string throughout that's kind of tied everything together.
That's amazing. So you must be itching to get away now. I mean, let's talk a little bit about quarantine. Of course, for you, someone who likes to travel, have new experiences, that's a huge part of your process. And I know that for a lot of people who struggle with addiction or who are in recovery, quarantine has been an extremely difficult time for them. I think we were talking and you were telling me some figures around alcohol sales and just sort of what's happening in the world because of quarantine. I'm sure you have a really, boots on the ground sort of perspective on this. So can you speak to that a little bit and why, organizations like Namaste Sober are so important right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. First of all, quarantine has been really hard for me too. So I don't want to, make it seem like I have it all figured out by any means. But I think the thing that has brought me some peace and some solace is just practicing and knowing that no matter where I am or no matter where I go, I can have that practice. And so I'm very much like a travel person. I'm very much a hugger. I'm very much a like, touchy feely person. So aside from the fact of, not being able to go out and see people and have tea or, do different things, I also really have been missing that piece of it. And I think, the beautiful piece of what we do at Namaste Sober is it's just like, so we provide at least one class a day that's a free either community conversation, yoga class, or fitness class. And the idea is to just kind of like, even if it's through a screen, to be able to connect with people. And really, like, yoga is all about connection. It's about connecting to your community. It's about connecting to your breath. It's about connecting to your practice. And so that piece of connection has definitely taken a different form in 2020. And I think that it's important to acknowledge like the feelings that come up because of a lack of the connection that we're used to. But there is still ways to connect online. And it's important to break up like our just us and our work, or just us and whatever we're doing with community. And so like, whether I understand people are burnt out from Zoom too. So I think so, like a lot of times people just hop on our calls and they'll keep their video off and they'll, just listen. And think anything like that you can do to kind of break up like the go, got to get this done mentality of like because the world is still happening out there, and like the expectations of what we're supposed to do and the work that we're supposed to complete is still there. And so it's really important that we meet that with a practice of, self-love, compassion, mindfulness, because otherwise it very quickly we can feel extremely drained. And then we're kind of seeking these things, whether it's drugs and alcohol, whether it's, I'm totally guilty of becoming heavily addicted to Netflix, which is crazy because I never watched TV. Like before last year, maybe once or twice a month, I would watch something. And it's become this like every night, at the end of the night for like a half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is. And the definition that I most resonate with for addiction is continuing to do something that you no longer want to be doing. And whether that is a substance, whether that's TV, whether that's staying in a relationship where you're unhappy or eating sugar, like it's really, that's where the yoga comes in, because it's totally different for each person. And it's important for people to be able to sit in that and really take responsibility for like, what is it that's going to bring me more peace and more happiness? And what do I need to let go of in order to make space for that?
Yeah, and I was thinking about this recently, and, I found myself living my life for a very long time, always looking for external things to make me feel whole inside. And, that could be Netflix, that could be drinking, that could be drugs, like whatever it is. But I think what you're providing and what yoga provides is, looking inward for those things and filling yourself up. I will share that in 2018, up until that point, I was, drinking a lot, and I was just burnt out. So I ended up giving up alcohol for 2 years. I didn't have a single drink. And
Amazing.
I have to say, it was the biggest ROI on my life. It changed everything, my relationships, how I felt about myself, my confidence, my health. And for that reason, I am so, I love the work that you're doing, because I understand what a positive impact it has on people's lives. And just, again, finding those tools within yourself just makes you so much stronger now that you don't have these crutches, these external crutches to lean on. You end up finding them within yourself. So this is like the perfect segue to the Sobruary challenge. And I've already signed up. I've already said, yeah, it's kind of hard to say, Soberary. But
I think people don't realize February has 2 R's. So it's like, but.
Yeah. Well, I'm signed up. I'm ready to go. I think I know I'm going to be giving up coffee for the month of February. I'm going to start there. Why don't you tell everyone about what the Soberary challenge is?
Yeah. So we used to do so this is our 4th year. The first year we did a sober January. The second year we did a sober February. And then last year we created the Soberary challenge. And the whole idea is like, obviously our organization is all about like everyone's sobriety looks different. And we wanted it to be something that was all encompassing. So whether you are already in recovery from something or not, just like this opportunity to look at your life, look at something maybe that you've been overdoing or abusing or misusing, and then choosing for a month to take that out, and then mindfully choosing what to put into that space. And that really is what Namaste Sober is all about. And that's why we offer such a range of classes and, training opportunities and scholarships for people, because no one knows except for you what's going to fill that space. And the whole point of yoga and meditation and all of these practices is to really know yourself so that you can choose what's going to be most beneficial to you. And so for the Soberary challenge this year, I'm so excited because just have,
what are you
it's
do?
like one of the best.
What is yours?
Oh, not for me personally. Mine's TV.
No TV?
No TV.
For a whole month? Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Good for you.
So, and what I'm putting in place of that is painting and reading. And so I already stocked up on my books, and I'm honestly most excited just for the amount of offerings we have. Normally throughout the challenge, we offer like 4 or 5 classes. And because everything is online this year, we have 15 classes a week that we're offering.
I was looking
free.
On your website on the calendar, and I was like, wow, there is so much to get involved with. It's so great. So what kind of offerings?
And like a little something for everyone too, because, everyone's goals are going to be different. So we have kind of more passive classes like community conversations. We have a Monday conversation that's all about context and mindset and setting yourself up for a successful week. We have a Wednesday conversation where we discuss the yamas and the niyamas of yoga, which are basically like guiding principles. We have a book club, we have a journaling class, and then yoga wise, we have 4 weekly yoga classes. We have 2 weekly meditation classes, and then we also have 4 fitness classes. And we're partnering with like some of the most amazing instructors that we've done charity events with in the past. So I just feel like it is an absolute representation of like what our events are normally like. And the coolest piece about it is just seeing people signing up from all across the country, because normally, when we do it, it's all of the events at least are Boston based. So to be able to see people tuning in from California and New Mexico, I saw Oklahoma come in last night, Colorado. It's just really exciting. And it also, in a year that felt like it took away so much because all of our fundraising events were canceled, like this campaign is just like kind of the silver lining of having to go online and being able to reach more people.
Awesome. So it kicks off on Monday, right?
Monday, yeah, February 1st.
How can people sign up? Where can they sign up?
Yeah, so if you just go to namastesober.com, it's NAMASTAYSOBER.com. There's a little pop-up that pops up when you get on, or you can click on the Soberary tab. And we say you make a $28 donation for each day of February. But if that's unattainable, all of the classes are public. They're under our classes and events tab. And yeah, just the more the merrier. It's amazing we're going to have a Soberary wrap-up panel. We have a brainstorming one tonight at 7, and then the wrap-up one is on March 8th. March 1st, which is a Monday. And I'm just excited to hear the success stories. Like we've heard in the past, like people just really changing their lives, and it's amazing what you can do in 1 month. So I'm just excited to hear about that.
Amazing. And I want to draw one parallel here because I see it so clearly, and it's so similar to the vision that I have with Level Up and the results that people get when you are in a community of like-minded people who are all committed to a common goal. So it would
100%.
be so different if everyone was doing this Soberary challenge on their own, but you're providing this community that's there with you the whole way. You're shoulder to shoulder with everyone. Just like in Level Up, we set goals and we get results. And I swear the only reason that such amazing things happen, it's just the power of community and being in this with other people. So could you speak to that a little bit, and the community?
Yeah,
and the power of community?
absolutely. And I think, it's important to give credit to the cultures and the places where I got from, like mainly being Bali and India, and just going there alone and then being embraced not only by, people at the yoga studio, but people that walk by you and people that just make eye contact. And it's this like really important piece of like, I'm here with you and I'm here beside you. And in a different way than helping someone, it's like this supportive community where it's like, I have resources, I have, my own personal experience I can share. And it's not like, and this is like the way you have to do it in this order. It's more so like, and we're discovering with each other in relationship to each other. There's this quote that I love by Krishnamurti, and he says, you discover yourself not in withdrawal, but in relationship. And I think that piece just kind of, and it's a longer quote that's absolutely beautiful. But I think that piece of the quote really like has been a guiding light for the organization, because without, meditation is you discovering kind of the way that your mind works and noticing things, but without bouncing things off of people, it's a lot harder to discover like where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are, what's working, what's not working. And then when you get this community where it's like, okay, we're all committed to leveling up, or we're all committed to being more mindful, or we're all committed to health and wellness. It's like you understand the benefit of someone being able to contribute to your success and vice versa. And it feels like this sort of contagious, empowering thing that's like alive. It's like a little,
It's an energy that's created,
ecosystem.
and it's
Yeah,
powerful.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And I'm so excited for February, and this will be my first real experience coming into Namaste Sober. And I'm excited to join some of the events and participate and see what results I can create for myself. And before we wrap up here, I want to talk about just real estate briefly, because we are a real estate mastermind, and although sometimes the conversation goes a much more interesting direction, such is the case today. Tell me a little bit about what you're up to in real estate, and if people are looking to buy or sell a home, or looking for investment property, where they can reach you, all that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. So my primary focus in real estate is East Boston. I live in East Boston. I've been focused in this area since about 2017. I really focus on purchasing buildings with a group of investors that I work with. And then we do gut rehabs and make high-end apartments. And a big piece of that kind of, I think to your point, like when you're doing the right things, you meet the right people. And I was grateful and blessed enough to have met a general contractor that very much aligns with the same values that I have. And we really make a point to support all sides of the transaction. So if we are purchasing a building where there are current tenants, we always make it a point to help people relocate, even if their current landlord doesn't make that a priority, which is really important to me. And it goes back to that idea of the container of like, once I realized what my values are and what's important to me, then those things just started showing up. And so it's kind of like the idea of, I don't know if you've ever like rented a randomly colored car, or I drive a Mini Cooper, and the second I got a Mini Cooper, I see Mini Coopers everywhere. So
I think it's
I
called
feel
confirmation
like,
bias or something like that, right?
yeah,
Confirmation bias.
yeah,
You're always seeking evidence.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think, just in real estate, like what you're looking for is what you'll find. And so you need to be really mindful of what is your self-talk. Are you telling yourself that, people in real estate will cheat you? Are you, worried about things? And I would start there, because, what you're creating internally is what you're going to find and manifest externally. And I just feel like I've been really blessed to find this amazing situation in East Boston. I just opened up our first office. I'm moved to Leading Edge, actually signed yesterday, so I can say that now. And
Wow.
we have,
Congratulations.
thank you. And we have an office that is adjacent to Centarpio's on the other side of the highway, which I think most people will know where Centarpio's is. And yeah, anything regarding East Boston, building sales, rentals. We do a little bit of condo conversion, but mainly buy and hold stuff. And I absolutely love it.
Awesome. And I love that you made the overlap between kind of your spiritual life and your business life, because not a lot of people talk about that. And I think you said something really important there. And that was that, all the thoughts and stories and things that you generate on the inside manifest themselves in your everyday life and in your business. So, it's no surprise to me that because of all this yoga and meditation and spiritual work that you do, that definitely carries over into your business, because, I truly believe thoughts become things. And if you're, generating these thoughts that serve you in your spiritual life, it's going to manifest itself in your business as well. And I also
Absolutely.
love that you mentioned um, how you have a responsibility as a real estate developer to the community, because I really do believe that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And the way that you're living your life with Namaste can't live separate from how you run your business. So that to me is a huge competitive advantage and a reason why I would love to do business with you. And I'm sure anyone would love to do business with you. And congratulations on your new role at Leading Edge.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for coming on. Tell everyone one last time where they can find you on Instagram, both for real estate and for Namaste.
Yeah, sure. So I have a personal website too. It's just nicolongo.com, Nicolongo. And my Instagram is Namaste Nicoletta. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, thank you for
Everything is
coming
good.
on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. I would love to just finish with like a 1 minute mindful moment meditation if you have time for it.
Let's do it. I could use that. Didn't you
Okay.
say today was the first day of Mercury in retrograde?
Mercury in retrograde, yes. So, and I'm like going from this to the next thing, and I've just noticed that when I feel like I don't have time for meditation, that's when I absolutely need to meditate. So that's become my red flag of time to meditate. So when you're ready, just allowing your eyes to close and just start by noticing your breath. Noticing its texture. Is it smooth or jagged? Noticing the capacity. Is it shallow or deep? And without trying to fix or change or manipulate the breath, can you simply follow it? And as you inhale through the nose or mouth, can you follow it not only for the beginning, but the middle and the end of the inhale? And as you exhale, you follow it not only for the beginning, but the middle and the end. And then for this final few moments, can you see if you can just let go of the problem solver and ride that breath as you inhale? And as you exhale, release. And one more together, inhaling a renewal, newness. And as you exhale, letting go of anything that would get in the way of that. And then when you're ready, opening the eyes, coming back to the moment, and beginning again.
Thank you. I don't
Thank
think
you.
I realized how much I needed that.
That's usually how it goes.
All right. Well, have a beautiful day, and thank you again, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.